Now I want to segment into a topic that I don't think a lot of people talk about. Not enough people talk about it, but I think hearing these stories will help somebody that's new to the hobby, or even somebody that's more experienced that's going through a tough time. So, kind of give us some stories of what are some of your biggest losses while breeding hognose snakes.
I said one to AJ before he came down. He's like, "Man, you know, this is going to be an interesting question." And I said, "Oh yeah, I got a great story for this one." I made the Arctic Honda Sunburst. I was the first one to make those. We called them the Red Rockets, but I mean, I guess if you were to look at an animal from a financial standpoint and moving forward, I love those animals, and they were just beautiful. But the first one that I made, it was a male, and I think I made two that year. Yeah, I think I made two that year. One was a female, one was a male, and kept him for a year and a half or so, feeding him, got him to adult size, put everybody down for brumation that year, and he was out of 400 snakes, he was the only one that died during brumation. So that was a big hit to me. It was terrible, but that 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 was tough for me. Now, other financial losses, I would say racks. Just I always want to change my racks to a new and better rack. So I'll spend two, three, $4,000 on racks, and then I just want to upgrade to the next one. So I pretty much just sell them to my friends for next to nothing or give them away. So that's probably my other biggest financial losses right there.
Okay. What about you, AJ? I know you're kind of new to breeding. Have you experienced any like losses, or just something that just brought you down and made you question if you wanted to even do this anymore?
Right. Um, I think at the root of it, it gets back to like why people are interested in this kind of stuff, right? I wouldn't say that I've had any financial losses necessarily. We have lost animals, you know. I'll tell you, or I'll briefly go over a little story, right? When I first started working for John, I came over and I have this really big Colombian rainbow boa. It's leucistic, and I was just really concerned about her, man. And I called John, and I'm not even gonna lie, man, I was like bawling my eyes out. I was so sad and upset. I thought that she was really sick, man. And I brought her over, and I was very upset. I mean, I know
Extremely upset.
John knew that I was, and he just reassured me, man. I came over, and she was totally fine. And I was just being up in my head, which I think a lot of reptile owners can be. And for me, it's more the emotional losses on stuff like that. And as far as like just being a kid and having reptiles and having lost them, and the feelings associated with that, like
Yeah,
are my losses.
yeah. To speak on that a little bit farther too, like AJ said, he called me and he was just so concerned for his snake, and he brought her over and he was worried about some pink,
Yeah,
right? That
she's a leucistic.
she's a leucistic Colombian rainbow boa, and probably one of the biggest Colombian rainbow boas I've ever seen in my life. She's huge. She actually eats what, like large rats.
She's very
She's
large.
huge. But he brought her over and he pulls out this magnificent Colombian rainbow boa that's just getting ready to shed. And but I could see the emotion on his face. He was pointing some things out, and I assured him that it was just getting ready to shed, and she
Yeah.
has been doing great still to this
And
day. So
I've had her for maybe 6 years, and I just caught her at that one moment in between shed that just presents a little pink to me, and I don't know, it really got to me, man. It really did.
Okay. So I can give some advice for somebody that what you're gonna go through some type of loss
yep,
breeding any animal. I think the best thing to do is don't make like a rash decision. So whether you lose a snake, you lose eggs in the incubator due to a malfunction, the best thing to do is just keep going. Don't
don't
quit,
Yeah.
yeah,
because
don't give up.
eventually you're gonna get over it.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and it happens to everybody. every hog nose breeder, you're gonna lose a snake. You may lose some eggs. You may lose a snake due to egg binding. They'll lay infertile clutches. But with any business, you just the people that are successful are the ones that keep going and the ones that learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, Jermaine. Like every year I learn something. Every year. There's a lot of people that, come to me and they're like, you're just so great at doing this. And I'm like, man, I've fallen down a lot. I've fallen down a lot, All right, to go back to the financial mistakes, I this wasn't really a financial mistake, but it impacted one of my years drastically. It was probably my second year of breeding hognose snakes, and I throw everything. I throw my entire collection into brumation every year. Everybody, babies, adults, everything. I really think it does a good thing for the babies. It gives them time to restart during brumation. If you have some that are tricky feeders throughout the year that maybe only eat scented or things like that, sometimes they come straight out of brumation ready to eat. Unscented everything. It's really interesting how it works. Well, during brumation, I'll go and check on them. I try not to disturb them. I keep them in, dark, keep them in the dark, and I try to let it get down to about 40. I like 40 degrees. I know a lot of people think that's a little cold. They try to keep it at like 50 to 60. I like 40 degrees. It just works well for me. So I go down and I check on them about 3 times to change your water bowls. That since I'm brumating the entire room, I can keep them in their own cages. Well, I came down, changed out some water bowls, the first time, and then I was like 2/3 the way through brumation, was going down to change out the water bowls again, and I opened out the male rack, and the male snake came out at me with his mouth open, and he should be moving in like slow motion. It's 40 degrees down there, and he came out like it was middle of summer. Well, I'd left my thermostat on the entire time during brumation. So he was sitting on that 85 degrees down there in the bottom, just sitting there the entirety of brumation. Well, needless to say, that year, I think I bred, I want to say like 12 females that year. Like I said, I was still in the beginning of my hognose snake career. And I think I got like 3 fertile eggs out of everybody. And it was just because those guys were sitting on that heat the entire time and just roasted any live sperm that could have been possibly in those males. And that was an important lesson that year, that I make sure I need to go and unplug all thermostats. That's checklist. That's number 1 on the checklist before brumation, and just let everybody get nice and cold.
So like emotionally, like how did you feel after only producing 3 fertile eggs? Like did you feel like quitting, or did you kind of know, okay, this is a lesson learned, I'm going to do better next year?
That it was exactly it, Jermaine. It was a lesson learned. So what I did that year is I focused on husbandry. I was like, all right, I made this mistake. I'm going to learn from it. I got a lot of infertile eggs. I got a couple hundred infertile eggs that year, and it was just a learning experience for sure. I did not want to give up in any way, shape, or form, though. It was just one of them aha moments where it's like, well, I will not be making that mistake again.
And I now have a Patreon account for those who want to support me even further. Here you will have access to exclusive videos, giveaways, as well as discounts. The link will be in the bottom in the description. And if you purchase Reppy links, feel free to use the discount code ShovelHogs to receive 5% off of all purchases.